Spaghetti. The word alone conjures red sauce, swirling forks, candlelit trattorias, and that iconic kiss between two cartoon dogs. It's warm, comforting, and unmistakably Italian. Or is it? You may have heard the story. Marco Polo brought noodles back to Italy from China, changing culinary history forever. It's a tale as tangled as a bowl of linguine, and just as slippery. But is it true? Well, spoiler, no it's not. Today we're lifting the lid on a pot full of myths tracing spaghetti's story across centuries and continents to uncover the truth behind one of the world's most beloved words and foods. Welcome back to Lexiconned, the show where we boil down the origins of everyday words and phrases, straining out the myths and serving up the truth. I'm your host TJ, and today we're going full carb load as we unravel the origin of a word and a food that has fed empires, crossed oceans, and somehow survived ketchup-based pizza pockets. That's right, we're talking about spaghetti. The word spaghetti is the plural of spaghetto, a diminutive of spago, meaning a string or twine in Italian. So quite literally, spaghetti means little strings. The root, spago, comes from the Latin word spacus, which possibly has some Greek connections to spakos, also meaning cord or string. Now, as a word, spaghetti is surprisingly recent. It first appeared in English around the mid-19th century. But the pasta itself, that goes back much, much further. Let's talk about Marco Polo. One of the most stubborn culinary myths is that Polo brought pasta to Italy from China after his travels in the 13th century. The story paints him as the great noodle importer, heroically introducing Italians to something they'd never seen before. Now, it's a great narrative, but it's also wrong. There's no historical evidence that Marco Polo brought pasta to Italy. In fact, there are records of Italians making pasta well before he returned from Asia in 1295. The Talmud even references boiled dough in the 5th century CE. And Arabic texts describe string-like noodles called etria being dried for storage in the 9th century. So where did the Marco Polo myth come from? Well, most likely it was the result of a clever bit of marketing. In the early 20th century, pasta companies looking to give their product an exotic backstory leaned into this Marco Polo narrative. It caught on and, much like a catchy jingle or a red checkered tablecloth, spread like wildfire. Investigating the cultural diffusion and Italian identity, what really happened is far more interesting. Pasta, in its many forms, is a product of cultural diffusion. The concept of boiling, rolling, and shaping dough is ancient. The Arabs brought dried noodles to Sicily during their rule in the 9th century. The Etruscans had grinding stones for wheat and tools to flatten dough long before the Romans arrived. Italy didn't invent pasta in a vacuum. It inherited, adapted, and perfected it. Over centuries, it became more than food. It became a cultural identity. And by the 17th century, Naples had become a center for dried pasta production. And by the time Italian immigrants came to the U.S. in the late 1800s, they brought spaghetti with them as a symbol of home. And that's how spaghetti became Italian. Not by birth, but by evolution. So spaghetti may be served hot, but its story is best served historically. It's a dish passed down not by a single traveler, but through centuries of exchange, influence, and invention. The word itself means little strings, but the truth is anything but small. It ties together continents, cultures, and centuries. So, the next time someone tells you Marco Polo invented or discovered pasta, you have my permission to correct the narrative. Well, that's it for this episode of Lexiconned. If you enjoyed today's tangle of etymology, history, and sauce-drenched myth-busting, well, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps keep this show al dente. As always, Lexiconned is written, recorded, and produced by me, your Logophile companion TJ Martin. Sources and additional credits are in the show notes. Thanks for listening.